Kefir, properly pronounced Kefir, is an incredibly powerful probiotic fermented beverage that is typically made from different types of animal milks, but can be made from plant milks and even water. The fermentation of milk into kefir was traditionally used as a way to preserve the milk, but it's now recognized and more commonly used as a way to obtain beneficial probiotic microorganisms. The fermentation process is catalyzed by kefir grains, which consist of a matrix of polysaccharides that contain a mixture of lactic acid bacteria, yeast, and acetic acid bacteria that all interact symbiotically with one another. The result of this fermentation is milk kefir, which played an instrumental role in helping me to achieve total resolution of a severe case of inflammatory bowel disease nearly 4 years ago. After discovering that there seems to be a relationship between a dysbiotic gut microbiome and the pathogenesis of IBD, I decided to implement my own gut microbiome optimizing protocol with the aim to return my gut microbiome to eubiosis. Kefir was an essential component of this protocol because of its probiotic properties and its potential to positively impact the human gut microbiome. We know from the literature that kefir helps to optimize the gut microbiome by proliferating probiotic microorganisms while simultaneously decreasing pathogenic microorganisms. The probiotics are able to cause this decrease in pathogens by competitively excluding them and acting as an antimicrobial. Probiotic competitive exclusion can be simplistically explained as outcompeting the pathogens for living space and nutrients within the intestinal tract. Probiotics also act as natural antimicrobials that have antibacterial and antifungal properties. Kefir and kefir-associated microorganisms have specifically been shown to have antibacterial activity against E. coli and Clostridium difficile and antifungal activity against Candida albicans. These are just a few of the pathogenic microbes that kefir is effective against, and there's a long list. Over time, the consistent consumption of milk kefir can help bring the gut microbiome back to eubiosis by promoting the proliferation of good probiotic microorganisms and decreasing the proliferation of pathogenic microorganisms. In this randomized controlled trial, a treatment group of 25 patients with IBD were given 800 milliliters of kefir per day for a duration of 4 weeks. The results of the trial show that there was a statistically significant increase in lactobacillus, well-known probiotic bacteria, for both ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease patients. The study concludes that kefir consumption may modulate the gut microbiome, and regular consumption of kefir may improve IBD patients' quality of life in the short term. The sample size of this study is admittedly small, and the findings are far from conclusive. However, this is really exciting to me because it mirrors the experience I had using kefir as part of a gut microbiome optimizing protocol to find relief from IBD. Each individual batch of kefir can vary in the number of probiotic CFUs it contains. A 2017 review states that milk kefir can have a bacterial population ranging between 64,000 and 850 million CFUs per gram, and a yeast population ranging between 150,000 and 370 million CFUs per gram. That's a huge variation in CFUs. However, it's beginning to seem in research that it's not necessarily the number of probiotic CFUs that determine probiotic efficacy. Rather, the efficacy of probiotics are determined in a strain-specific and disease-specific manner, meaning the type of probiotics consumed may be more important than the quantity of probiotics consumed. There are up to 50 strains of probiotic bacteria and yeast that have been found in milk kefir, many of which have been extensively studied and found to be helpful in promoting several health benefits and improving different diseases. So, in addition to improving the composition of the gut microbiome, probiotic microorganisms that are found in kefir have been shown to increase the speed of wound healing, promote anti-allergenic effects, to have significant anti-cancer activity against multiple types of cancer cells, and to generally improve the immune system response. Milk kefir is a truly incredible food. So how do you make it? I was spoiled during my recovery process because I was able to buy kefir that was made in-house at a local raw dairy farm. So I didn't actually start making my own kefir until a few years later. And what I've learned since then is that there are several ways to do it and that it's more of an art than a science. This is the easiest and my favorite method that I've come across. First, you're going to need kefir grains. You can find them online or at certain health food stores. Then you're going to want a fermentation vessel. Typically, after each batch of kefir is finished fermenting, you strain out the kefir grains so you can use them for your next batch of kefir. And then you refrigerate the freshly fermented milk kefir so that you can drink it. But I found a better method. A highly intelligent family member, who is a fellow kefirite, brought this wonderful kefir fermentation vessel to my attention, which simplifies the process by eliminating the straining step. So, once you have your kefir grains and the kefir fermenter, it's time to start making the milk kefir. I fill this 1 quart jar about 3/4 of the way up with milk, and then I add 1 tablespoon of grains into the kefir grain container. Different ratios of kefir grains to milk can be used. For example, Cultures for Health, which is an awesome resource on fermented foods, recommends 1 to 2 teaspoons of kefir grains for culturing about 4 cups of milk. I generally add higher amounts of kefir grains to my milk because it makes measuring a bit simpler, gives it a stronger flavor, and speeds up the fermentation process. I submerge the container into the milk, but not quite to the bottom of the jar, and then I screw the vented, breathable lid onto the jar. I let this sit on the counter for 48 hours at about 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The length of time that milk kefir is allowed to ferment can vary quite a bit. I prefer 48 hours because that is how long the people at the dairy who used to sell me kefir allowed it to ferment, and I saw really great results with their kefir. After 48 hours, I unscrew the lid and easily remove the kefir grains without having to strain them. From here, I can either store my kefir grains in some milk in the fridge until I'm ready to use them again, or I can immediately start another batch of kefir by placing them in a fresh jar of milk. I then put the finished milk kefir in the fridge to cool down before I start drinking it because I prefer drinking it cold. And that's it. After it's cold enough for my liking, it's ready to be consumed. So that's my preferred method of making kefir. However, there are several ways to do it. Cultures for Health has been a great resource for me over the years that has explained how to make kefir in different ways, how to troubleshoot the kefir making process, how to store the kefir grains, how to incorporate second ferments, flavoring the kefir, and many other milk kefir nuances. I would definitely recommend checking out their website if you have questions regarding how to make kefir because they cover this topic extensively. If you'd like to learn more about my story or reach out to me, please visit teamhannes.com. All of the information that has allowed me to get better is on my YouTube channel for free. However, if you want personalized help sifting through it all, I'd be happy to help. I do have a Bachelor of Science degree in nutrition from Texas A&M University, and I'm currently offering online coaching for anyone who wants my help developing a personalized nutrition program. I know what it's like to be sick. I understand that feeling of brokenness. I understand the mental and emotional fatigue that comes along with it. I also know what it's like to get better, to regain that freedom. I can't and won't promise that you will get better, but I think it's important, whether it's with my help or without my help, to try to work towards improving your situation, whatever it may be. I want your situation to improve, and I think that improved nutrition can go a long way towards making that happen.